All right, so I know we've all heard the phrase trust your intuition, right? But the question is, what exactly is intuition? Well, by definition, intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need of conscious reasoning. It bridges the gap between the subconscious and the conscious parts of the mind. People receive validation of their intuition in a lot of different ways. And understanding how you receive it or how it manifests to you can help you strengthen and learn to trust your intuition a little bit more. The different ways of receiving that validation for your intuition is called your clairs, or your senses. Everybody has at least one that's just a little bit stronger than the rest. But as you begin to understand and trust your strongest clair, you might begin to notice that other clairs are heightening as well. And we'll get in more in a little bit on what these clairs are exactly. So, well, there's a lot of different ones. I'm just going to talk about the four most common ones that probably almost everybody has probably heard of. Most of you probably experience at least one of them, if not all of them. So, clair, by definition, in French, it means clear. Okay? So, if you're familiar with the word claircognizance, that means clear knowing. Clairsentience means clear feeling. Clairvoyance, clear seeing, and clairaudience is clear hearing. Me personally, I experience all of these and then a couple of the other ones as well, but I experience all of these all the time. I would say my most prominent ones, the ones that really stick out the most to me, is clairaudience, for one, because I am always hearing things that other people don't hear. I pick up on little messages here and there through song lyrics or just things that randomly kind of pop into my head out of nowhere. Okay, these are clairaudience messages and validations towards my intuition and towards questions or whatever that I might be kind of confused about or looking for an answer for. This is how I receive a lot of those. The other one that probably is the strongest one for me is probably my clairsentience. Okay, that's the clear feeling clair. That's often just knowing and feeling that whatever that message is true. And when I do trust that, I haven't been proven wrong yet. So just understanding how you're receiving those messages from your intuition and how you're getting that validation for it can really help you learn to trust your intuition a lot more. So I'm going to start with claircognizance. Okay, that's the first one. That is the clear knowing. Okay, this one, basically you have there's no reason behind why or how you know something, but you just do. And you're right about it. So it oftentimes manifests as a sudden thought that just randomly pops into your mind out of nowhere. That's one that is pretty common. I think a lot of people experience that one. I think that's probably honestly the most common one that people experience. You hear a lot of people talking about their, just they just know, they know this or they know that. You can't hide this from them or whatever. A lot of times that's why. I think it's one of the more common ones that people experience is they just kind of know for whatever reason. They have that gut instinct to them or whatever that they know. The other one, the next one, clairsentience, is the ability to feel. Okay, so that's the clear feeling. People with this clair often feel the truth, like I was talking about before. A lot of healers have a very strong clairsentience intuition and can literally feel the energy or even the physical and mental ailments of others. This is a clair that that most true empaths have, and I say true because there's a lot of people out there who claim that they are empaths and whatnot, but and we all are to an extent, but there are some that I think like the sound of being one more than actually being one. And when you get a little more familiar with the clairs and a deeper understanding of what an empath actually is, you can really pick out the people that truly are empaths and the ones who, maybe experience just a little tiny bit of it, but they've really got to work on trying to be empathetic towards, other people and their situations without judgment. You can, learn how to heighten your empathy towards people. It does take some work though, but it is possible to heighten that, and we all do have some empathy no matter what. We are all empathetic in some way, but I do think that there's a lot of people out there who try to portray themselves as being more empathetic than what they really are. And people will, they like the sound of like, I can feel the energy and this and that or whatever. But what I always question is, are you really feeling it though? Are you just noticing and observing, in the situation that you are, that maybe there's some tension? Because that's pretty easy to observe and figure out. But are you literally feeling what those other people are feeling in that situation? Like, you can tell, you can feel that this person is angry and that person is sad. And you can probably almost put money on being able to actually explain to them the type of feeling that they're feeling, the reason behind that feeling. If you can tell that this person is sad, you can almost bet money that you would be right if you were to say they were experiencing some kind of grief or loss. Okay? Or this person that's, maybe angry or whatever, you can tell they're tense. You can see that. You can see that in their facial expression. You can, in their tone of voice, you can hear that. But a real empath is actually going to be able to pretty much know what it is that's causing that tension without even talking to the person, without knowing them. And that's why I say true empath, because there's not quite as many of those out there as what is put out there on social media and everything else. There's not quite as many. There's a lot of them, but not quite to the extent of what we see out there. So anyway, that's clairsentience, just the ability to feel. Okay, so that's another validation of your intuition. So you're feeling that you get that a situation is, one way or another way. You would feel the actual validation of that intuition. Clairvoyance is another one. Okay, that's clear seeing. So that's the ability to actually see things. A lot of times that shows up as signs or symbols. Receiving clear messages through vision, through dreams. Dreams are pretty more of the more common ways to see clairvoyance when you are not familiar with actually looking for that, looking for signs and symbols and things like that. Some of that validation for your intuition comes within dreams. Suddenly seeing a specific word that offers insight to an answer that you've been searching for is another pretty common example. Okay, the next one is clairaudience. That is the clear hearing. People with a strong clairaudience intuition may hear things that other people don't hear. They might hear voices of somebody else when they're completely by themselves. And a lot of people that actually have this can oftentimes actually be diagnosed with mental illnesses that they don't actually have, because your Western medicine, your mainstream doctors and stuff, this isn't anything they want you to know about. They don't want this, okay? This is spiritually related. This is connecting to, your higher self and learning to see the world for what it is and receiving these messages to help you along your journey without their aid. They don't want that. They don't make money off of it. So a lot of people do get diagnosed as having some kind of mental disorder, mental illness. I did. As when I was a child, I got diagnosed with mental disorders because they suspected that my anxiety was so bad that that I had basically felt like I was hearing messages in my head all the time telling me, go clean your room, or, go do this, or you try this way, you can do it better that way, or whatever. And really I was just being guided to try something different or to do what I needed to do. But the doctors, with me explaining that to them, thought, oh, nope, she's nuts, she's crazy, she's putting an imaginary face to her anxiety because she's young and she doesn't understand it. Well, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand that it was actually one of my clairsenses, that it was my clairaudience, and it's never gone away. And I haven't been medicated for that for 20 years, 21 years, something like that. It's never caused me a problem. What it's done is actually helped me out in situations. Sometimes that clair can also manifest through things like song lyrics, like I was mentioning before. I mean, you might be driving in your car, you got the radio on, you're not paying attention at all, but you're thinking about something. You get something on your mind, you want to get something figured out, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, out of nowhere, you suddenly pick out or hear specific words from song lyrics, or even, a commercial or something, that suddenly give you insight to the situation that you have been pondering and trying to figure out. So pay attention to these clairs and don't think you're crazy and losing your mind when you start to actually pick up on them and recognize them. You're not crazy. You're tapping into a deeper part of your subconscious mind. That's a good thing. A lot of people get diagnosed with mental illnesses and they don't have them. And unfortunately, from the research that I've done on mental illnesses and medications for it, those medications actually block the ability to tap into that deeper part of your subconscious mind. And you know, I do believe that with a certain amount of time and patience, you can tap back into it, but it does block it, you know. And mental illness is something that I'm going to be talking about actually later, probably in a week or two or something. But because it's just been something that's really been on my mind, because I've been seeing so many people talking about their mental illness, and the mental illness they're describing is the exact same thing that every person on the face of this earth deals with. You know, it's just got a word attached to it now. And unfortunately, sometimes that word and that mental illness gets overused. And there's a lot less people in this world that actually have such strong mental illness that they actually need medication for. There really is a lot less of them than what we see. People just they don't understand this other part of their subconscious mind. They don't understand this deeper part of them that is uncomfortable. It's taboo to them, and it's unknown, and so it's scary. And that's, you know, what I try to do is to show people it's not so scary. It's actually good.